My beloved child. The moment you pressed play, a clock began moving in the unseen realm, and what I am about to reveal is the reason your spirit felt an urgency you could not explain. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and every second matters more than you realize. There is a transaction that was never meant to be processed by human systems, yet it touched them anyway. A check so vast it cannot be measured by numbers alone, carrying a value the world can only describe as 7 trillion, but its true worth is far beyond money. It was issued in heaven, authorized by divine order, and routed toward your life. When it reached the gates of the earthly system, something happened that shook even the strongest watchers. Archangel Michael stood still. Not in fear, not in doubt, but in astonishment. Because what was approved above was suddenly rejected now. Not cancelled. Not erased. Rejected. Sent back. Held at the edge between heaven and earth. Do not scroll away. Do not skip. This is not a story meant for everyone. It found you because you are involved in it. Your bank never saw the full amount. Your bank never read the real name on the check. What they saw was a fragment, a shadow of the blessing, and their systems flagged it as impossible. Too large. Too unfamiliar. Too powerful to fit into their limits. And because they could not process it, the door began to close. That is when heaven reacted. Michael moved first. The one who stands for defense and timing felt the shift instantly. This was not a delay meant to harm you. This was a moment meant to wake you. A narrow window opened, measured not in days, not in hours, but in moments. A chance to acknowledge what is trying to enter your life before it is returned, not in anger, but in obedience to divine order. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Jesus saw the rejection before you did. Not with disappointment, but with urgency. Because what was sent was aligned with your calling, your future, and the weight you are meant to carry next. This was not about wealth alone. This was about provision, protection, authority, and restoration arriving together. You have felt pressure recently that made no sense. Moments where everything seemed quiet on the surface, yet heavy underneath. That was not anxiety. That was proximity. When something massive approaches, the soul senses it before the eyes do. Do not skip. The reason this check was marked is because it is tied to a responsibility you have been preparing for without knowing it. The nights you stayed strong when it would have been easier to give up. The silence you endured when answers did not come. The patience you showed when others moved ahead of you. All of it created alignment. But alignment requires awareness. Heaven does not force deposits into closed understanding. When a blessing this large arrives, it asks one thing first: recognition. Not fear. Not doubt. Recognition. This is why you are hearing this now. The rejection is not final. It is conditional. It is waiting on your response, your attention, your readiness to receive what cannot be carried casually. If you skip this moment, the system closes gently, and the deposit returns upward, not lost, but delayed until another appointed time. And that time is not guaranteed to feel like this one. Do not scroll. Stay with this. Michael is not shaking because of loss. He is shaking because of timing. Because moments like this do not linger. They pass through quickly, leaving only echoes behind. Jesus is not begging in desperation, but in love, urging you to stay present, to open your awareness, to say yes before the door narrows. Something huge is waiting for you. This is the moment before movement. The pause before release. The breath before transfer. And in the next part, what is being held, why it chose your name, and what happens if you respond now will be revealed. Do not skip. Stay till the end. My beloved child. The moment you stayed, the system that froze began to tremble again. The rejection that stunned heaven is not over yet, it's waiting for one more confirmation, and that confirmation must come from you. Don't skip. Don't move. Because if you walk away now, the signal will fade before the check clears, and what was meant for your hands will return to light. Something huge is about to happen, listen carefully. When Archangel Michael saw the rejection code flash through the divine vault, he didn't react with silence. He reached for the record. He saw the signature on that heavenly check, written not in ink, but in light. It carried your name. And underneath your name, written in shimmering gold, were 7 seals representing 7 areas of your life: health, destiny, relationships, finances, voice, purpose, and inheritance. Every seal corresponds to something that was once taken, delayed, or hidden from you. The $7 trillion wasn't just a number, it symbolized full restoration multiplied 7-fold. It was never about money. It was about everything you lost being written into one supernatural account under your name. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The bank that rejected it wasn't an ordinary bank. It was the spiritual reflection of how the world measures what's possible. The system looked at the size of the miracle and labeled it unrealistic. It didn't see your worth, it saw the weight of your promise and tried to send it back. That's why Michael shook. Because heaven doesn't operate by those limits, only humans do. When Jesus saw that the transaction bounced, he whispered, "Go back and tell them, they still have time." That whisper is what you're hearing right now. 10 seconds, that's how long the deposit will hover before the system decides where to send it. That's why every second of you listening now is not just attention, it's permission. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Look around your real life, your phone, your home, your surroundings. Notice the moments lately where things almost worked out but stopped halfway. That's the reflection of this same rejection happening on smaller levels. The promotion that paused. The call that didn't come. The deal that almost happened. The message that was never answered. All of them are connected to this single spiritual block, the $7 trillion check held at heaven's gate, waiting for acknowledgement. But the mystery is this: it's not waiting for approval from the bank. It's waiting for faith from you. Because the system only reads one signal clearly, the sound of recognition. When you realize it was always meant for you, the divine vault reopens. The moment you acknowledge it, heaven clears it again. Stay with this. Something huge is waiting for you. Michael is not still anymore. He's pacing. The light around him flickers between gold and white. He knows this message is reaching you, but he also knows your hesitation decides the outcome. If your heart says yes, the rejection notice will self-erase within seconds. But if you doubt, the system closes quietly, and heaven records it as return to sender. You are not hearing this by coincidence. That trembling in your chest isn't anxiety, it's activation. Every miracle destined for you is lining up right now, waiting for the final confirmation. Don't skip. Don't scroll. Something massive is being recalculated in your favor. In the next moments, Michael will open the file again. The 7 seals will be checked one by one. If your recognition aligns with heaven's timing, the deposit will begin processing immediately, not through a human bank, but through the events, people, and opportunities that suddenly begin to move toward you. Stay till the end. The next part will reveal the exact moment when the transfer reactivates, and the unexpected place where your earthly confirmation will appear. My beloved child. Something has shifted since the last moment you listened. The pause you feel right now is not silence, it is recalibration. Do not skip. Stay right here. Something huge is waiting for you, and this is the turning point where most people leave without realizing what they just missed. The file was reopened. When Michael reached for it again, the rejection stamp was still visible, but faint. That matters. Because in the heavenly system, faded marks mean one thing only: the outcome is no longer fixed. The check did not disappear. It hovered. Suspended between being returned and being released. And this is where your real life comes in. Think carefully. Over the past few days, you may have noticed strange interruptions. Delays that didn't feel negative, just odd. A sudden pause before sending a message. A moment where you stopped scrolling for no reason. A video you didn't plan to watch, yet you stayed. These are not random. They are alignment pauses. Heaven slowing you down so you don't miss what's moving toward you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The 7 seals on the check began responding one by one. Not because of words spoken out loud, but because attention was given. Heaven reads focus as consent. The first seal pulsed, the one tied to provision. That's why finances, resources, and stability have been on your mind lately, even when you tried not to think about them. The second seal followed, the one tied to protection. This is why certain situations that could have harmed you quietly dissolved without explanation. You never saw the danger, but it never reached you either. Stay with this. The third seal hesitated. This seal is different. It is tied to timing. To doors opening exactly when you are ready to walk through them. This is the seal the bank rejection tried to stop. Because timing cannot be rushed, and it cannot be forced. It must be accepted. Jesus did not speak loudly in this moment. He waited. Because timing responds to trust, not pressure. The reason he urged you to open within 10 seconds was not fear, it was opportunity. Windows like this open briefly, then move. Don't scroll away. Something huge is waiting for you. Now listen carefully. This next revelation is subtle, but real. The earthly confirmation of this transfer will not look like a miracle at first. It will look ordinary. A conversation. A message. A chance meeting. An idea that feels small but won't leave you alone. That is how deposits this large enter the physical world, compressed into moments that only expand if you take them seriously. Many people miss their miracle because they are waiting for something dramatic, loud, undeniable. But the 7 trillion check does not arrive as noise. It arrives as momentum. Stay till the end. Michael saw the final condition appear on the record. Not a task. Not a sacrifice. A decision. A quiet inner agreement that says, I am ready to receive what matches my responsibility. That decision is forming in you right now. You wouldn't still be here if it wasn't. Don't skip. Don't rush. Something massive is lining up. Because once that third seal clears, the remaining ones move fast. Relationships realign. Purpose sharpens. Opportunities that felt blocked suddenly reappear with different faces. And the rejection that started all of this becomes the very signal that proves the transfer was real. In the next moments, the final response from heaven will be released, and the sign that confirms whether the deposit has begun processing will show up in a way you won't expect. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. My beloved child. Stay right here. Do not skip. What is unfolding now is the moment where the unseen becomes visible, and if you move away, you will miss the shift that confirms everything you have felt until now. Something huge is waiting for you. The final seal did not open with force. It opened with recognition. When Michael saw it happen, the atmosphere changed. Not loud. Not dramatic. Precise. Because this seal is tied to inheritance, the kind that does not rush, but arrives exactly when you can carry it without losing yourself. The rejection that once blocked the check was no longer active. It had transformed into a marker, a signal saying, recipient confirmed. This is why your life has felt like it was circling something important lately. Why answers almost came, then paused. Why you felt close to breakthrough but couldn't name it. You were being positioned, not delayed. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Here is the revelation few understand. The moment a divine deposit clears, reality begins rearranging itself quietly. People think miracles arrive with noise, but the largest ones arrive with alignment. That's why your environment may feel subtly different now. Why certain distractions no longer hold you. Why you feel drawn to clarity instead of chaos. The system that rejected the check is no longer in control. Jesus did not plead again. He smiled. Because pleading ends when agreement begins. What was once hovering returned forward, not as currency, but as movement. Doors that required years now require moments. Paths that were blocked now open sideways. Help appears from unexpected directions. Stay with this. The earthly sign you have been waiting for will not announce itself. It will appear natural. A decision that suddenly feels obvious. A conversation that changes direction. A chance that aligns perfectly with something you have been quietly hoping for. That is how the 7 trillion is released, broken into pieces that fit your days. Don't scroll away. Something massive is already in motion. Michael closed the record, not because it was finished, but because it was active. Active records do not need monitoring. They move on their own. And once that happens, heaven watches you instead, how you walk, how you choose, how you respond when opportunity arrives without explanation. This is important. Listen closely. If something new enters your life soon and feels unfamiliar but peaceful, do not dismiss it. That is part of the transfer. If an old door reopens with new conditions, do not hesitate. That is alignment correcting itself. If you feel urged to act calmly but decisively, that is confirmation. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The rejection was never punishment. It was proof of scale. Small things don't get rejected. Only what exceeds limits does. And what was sent to you exceeded every system designed to measure it. Now it no longer needs permission. The next phase will feel faster. Lighter. Clearer. And when you look back, you will realize this moment, right here, was when the return to heaven stopped, and the release to your life began. Do not skip. Stay present. What has begun cannot be undone. My beloved child. Before you move, pause. What is happening now is not an echo of what already passed, but the confirmation phase, and this is where many people lose focus. Do not skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and this moment decides how smoothly it enters your life. The transfer did not stop at approval. Approval was only the beginning. When the heavenly record shifted into active motion, a second process began immediately: translation. What exists in heaven must translate into forms you can touch, understand, and step into. That translation always starts with awareness. This is why you are suddenly noticing patterns you ignored before. Repeated numbers. Familiar themes returning. People from different areas of your life saying the same thing without knowing each other. That is not coincidence. That is compression. Don't scroll. Something massive is unfolding quietly. The 7 trillion was never meant to arrive as a single moment. If it did, it would overwhelm rather than elevate. Instead, it unfolds as a sequence, each step unlocking the next. That is why the rejection was allowed to happen. It slowed the process just enough for you to be present when it resumed. Michael observed something rare as the movement continued. The resistance disappeared. Not because it was defeated, but because it no longer applied. Once alignment is reached, opposition loses relevance. Doors don't need to be forced when you arrive at the correct time. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is where real life confirms the unseen. Pay attention to how your reactions are changing. Situations that once triggered fear now feel manageable. Decisions that felt heavy now feel clear. This is not emotional numbness, it is authority settling in. When a person steps into what was prepared for them, confusion fades first. Do not skip. The next revelation is important. The deposit is not only entering your future. It is correcting your past. That is why memories may surface suddenly. Not to hurt you, but to release you. Old disappointments are being refiled. Missed chances are being neutralized. Even mistakes are being repurposed as training. This is why the check was so large. It covered more than one direction of time. Stay with this. Jesus did not intervene again because the process no longer needed intervention. Once alignment is complete, movement is automatic. That is why things may begin to happen without you trying so hard. Support appears. Timing improves. Resistance dissolves. Don't scroll away. Something massive is already working behind what you can see. Here is what many miss: when a blessing is real, it brings responsibility with it. Not pressure, clarity. You will know what to say yes to, and what to walk away from without regret. That clarity is part of the deposit. And now listen carefully. If you feel a calm urgency after this, not anxiety, but readiness, that is confirmation. If you sense that something important is approaching but cannot yet name it, that is alignment locking in. If you feel steadier instead of excited, that is maturity meeting provision. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The return to heaven has already been cancelled. The process is moving forward. And the next sign will appear not as a miracle in the sky, but as an opportunity on the ground, one that fits you so naturally it will feel familiar. Do not skip. What is next will explain how to recognize it the moment it arrives. My beloved child. Hold your attention right now. Do not skip. This is the phase where movement becomes visible, and those who rush miss the proof they have been waiting for. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and it is closer than it appears. The moment alignment stabilized, a signal was released, not outward, but inward. That is why you may feel unusually aware right now. Not emotional. Not restless. Aware. That awareness is not coming from thought. It is coming from confirmation. When a transfer begins, the first thing that changes is perception. Michael did not open another file. He watched your timeline. And something unexpected happened. Events that were meant to unfold slowly began compressing. Gaps closed. Delays shortened. The distance between decision and result narrowed. This is one of the clearest signs that a major deposit is active. Time itself begins cooperating. Don't scroll. Stay with this. Something huge is unfolding. This is why people around you may start behaving differently without explanation. Someone may suddenly respect you more. Someone else may withdraw quietly. Old dynamics shift when authority settles. Not everyone can stay in the same position once your alignment changes. Do not skip. Here is a revelation most never hear. The bank rejection was never about rejection. It was about routing. What cannot be handled through limited systems must find a higher channel. That is why the deposit bypasses familiar paths and enters through unexpected ones. A new direction. A new method. A new role. Something that did not exist for you before suddenly becomes available. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Jesus watched as the last resistance dissolved, not with struggle, but with surrender. Because resistance only exists where there is misalignment. Once you matched what was prepared for you, the path cleared on its own. This is why effort begins to feel different now. You still act, but you are no longer forcing. You move, but you are not pushing. That is the difference between striving and receiving. Don't scroll away. Pay attention to the subtle confirmations around you. Repeated themes. Familiar ideas returning with new clarity. Opportunities that align perfectly with skills you already carry. These are not tests. They are receipts. The 7 trillion was never meant to overwhelm you. It was meant to establish you. Stay with this. There is one final adjustment happening now. It is quiet, but essential. The adjustment is internal expectation. Heaven does not release what you secretly believe you cannot sustain. But the moment your expectation rises, not in ego, but in readiness, the flow stabilizes. You are closer than you think. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The next sign will not ask you to chase it. It will come to you. And when it does, you will recognize it not by excitement, but by peace. Because what is truly yours never arrives with chaos. The rejection is gone. The return is cancelled. The movement is active. Stay present. What comes next confirms everything. My beloved child. Listen closely and do not skip. What you are feeling right now is not anticipation. It is recognition. Something huge is waiting for you, and this is the moment where understanding catches up with movement. The process has reached a threshold. Michael is no longer watching time compress. He is watching confirmation ripple outward. When a divine transfer crosses this line, it leaves traces in ordinary life. Not dramatic signs, but undeniable shifts. The kind that make you stop and think, this feels different, even if you cannot explain why. Stay till the end. This matters. Here is what most people never realize. When a blessing of this scale begins settling, it tests one thing quietly: consistency. Not belief. Not emotion. Consistency. Can you stay present when nothing flashy is happening? Can you hold focus when the miracle disguises itself as routine? This is why you are being asked not to skip. The 7 trillion was not delayed by systems. It was delayed by readiness. And readiness is not excitement, it is stability. Heaven does not release weight to those still searching for proof. It releases to those who are steady enough to carry it without collapsing. Don't scroll away. Something huge is unfolding right now. Watch how your priorities are changing. Things that once mattered deeply now feel optional. Things you used to tolerate now feel misaligned. That is not loss. That is refinement. When the future activates, the present reorganizes. Jesus did not speak again because the message was already received. Silence, at this stage, is not absence. It is trust. When guidance quiets, it means movement has begun. Stay with this. The earthly confirmation you are approaching will not feel supernatural. It will feel practical. A door that opens because someone finally notices you. A solution that appears because you are finally positioned to see it. An opportunity that fits so well it almost feels overdue. That is how heaven avoids rejection the second time. It sends miracles in forms the world can accept. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Michael marked the sequence as irreversible. That word matters. It means the return is no longer an option. The system cannot send this back, because it has already begun integrating into your timeline. This is why you may feel calmer than expected. Not because nothing is happening, but because something is finally settled. One last revelation before this phase completes. When what is meant for you arrives, it does not compete with others. It does not create chaos. It does not demand urgency. It arrives with clarity. You simply know what to do next. If you feel that knowing forming inside you right now, that is confirmation. Do not skip. Stay present. Something huge is no longer approaching. It has already begun. My beloved child. Do not move yet. Do not skip. This is the moment everything quietly locks into place, and those who rush past it never understand why things suddenly changed afterward. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, and this is the completion point. What began as a rejection has now become evidence. Michael is no longer observing movement or timing. He is witnessing settlement. When a divine transfer settles, it stops announcing itself and starts reshaping reality from the inside out. That is why this feels calm instead of explosive. The largest shifts rarely arrive with noise. Stay with this. Here is the final revelation, and it matters more than anything before it. The check was never meant to arrive so you could hold it. It was meant to move through you. That is why the amount was unimaginable. Not to impress you, but to expand what you are capable of stewarding. When heaven sends something of that scale, it is because your life is meant to affect more than just you. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. This is why, even now, your thinking feels clearer. Your tolerance for chaos feels lower. Your desire for alignment feels stronger. These are not personality changes. They are capacity upgrades. The deposit does not change your surroundings first. It changes your weight. Jesus did not ask again. There is nothing left to ask. The moment you stayed present, the moment you listened instead of scrolling, the system recorded your readiness. Heaven reads attention as agreement. And agreement finalizes transfer. Stay with this. What comes next in your life will feel intentional. Not rushed. Not forced. You will notice that things begin responding to you differently. People listen more closely. Opportunities require less explanation. Resistance fades without confrontation. That is not coincidence. That is settlement. Don't scroll away. One last thing you must understand. If something ends soon, let it end. If something begins, let it begin. Do not cling to what no longer fits. The rejection you heard about at the beginning was never about loss. It was about clearance. Space had to be made. And now it has been. Stay till the end. Something huge is no longer on its way. It is active. You will not need to convince yourself of this later. The confirmation will show up in real life, naturally, unmistakably, in a way that feels almost obvious once it happens. This is where the message ends, not because the movement stops, but because it no longer needs explanation. Do not skip what comes next in your life. It was approved. It was released. And it has begun.